dismantle the education department back on track and go through with his laying off of nearly 1,400 employees. The Supreme Court paused an order from a U.S. district judge who had issued a preliminary injunction reversing Trump's layoffs, saying it would likely cripple the education department. A federal appeals court then refused to put that order on hold, while the administration appealed to the Supreme Court. With the three liberal justices on the Supreme Court in dissent, Justice Sonia Sotomayor wrote that when the executive publicly announces its intent to break the law and then executes on that promise, it is the judiciary's duty to check that lawlessness, not expedite it. I'm Lisa Dwyer.
A Colorado dentist accused of killing his wife by poisoning her protein shakes begins trial with opening arguments this week. James Craig has denied all charges, including first-degree murder. And heavy rain swept across parts of the Northeast, flooding sections of New York and New Jersey. The worst of the rain has moved on as of this morning, but some roads and streets are still flooded. Andrea Gibson, the celebrated poet and performance artist, died Monday at age 49 after their 4-year battle with terminal ovarian cancer. This is AP News. A catcher nicknamed Big Dumper is this year's All-Star home run champion in baseball. Correspondent Gethin Coolball reports.
Seattle's Cal Raleigh won his first All-Star home run derby after leading the big leagues in homers going into the break, defeating Tampa Bay's Junior Caminero 18-15 in the final round at Atlanta.
Kind of surreal, you don't think you're going to win it, and you don't think you're ever going to get invited, and then you get invited, and the fact that you win it with your family and super special.
The Mariners' breakout slugger advanced from the first round on a tiebreaker by less than an inch over the Athletics' Brent Rooker. He won his semifinal 19-13 over Pittsburgh's O'Neill Cruz, whose 513-foot first-round drive over Truist Park's right center field seats was the longest of the night. I'm Gethin Coolbaugh.
More information at apnews.com. I'm Marcela Sanchez.
This is 8:20 a.m. WCPT Willow Springs and streaming worldwide at WCPT820.com. We are Chicago's progressive talk, where facts matter. Now your WCPT 820 weather update.
From the Weatherology Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Jennifer Wojcicki. We'll see sunny skies here for today, high around 90 degrees. Winds out of the southwest around 5 to 10 miles per hour. Then for tonight, partly cloudy skies with a low near 74. By Wednesday, a chance for showers and thunderstorms here late. Blend of clouds and sunshine develops, high 91. Thursday, another chance for showers and storms, cloudy, high of 78 degrees. That's your latest Chicago weather update.
Currently, it's 73. Millions of Americans take medicine like Ozempic and Zepbound. Many of them are overpaying by thousands of dollars a year. These GLP-1 medications for diabetes, weight loss, and more may not always be covered by your insurance, but GoodRx can help. GoodRx helps you save every month on prescriptions at over 70,000 pharmacies nationwide. Best of all, it's free to use. Check GoodRx to save on GLP-1s. Just go to GoodRx.com/GLP. That's GoodRx.com/GLP. GoodRx is not insurance, but can be used instead of insurance, including Medicare and other federal and state-funded programs.
Because facts matter. You are listening to WCPT 820.
Welcome to Choose Views with Richard Chew. Get ready to dive into a world of insightful conversations and thought-provoking discussions.
As progressives, our job is to have an all-inclusive, full-on assault with all of our players.
A show that focuses on moving our political, social, economic, gender, and cultural conversation forward.
And all of our players means all of our players.
It's Choose Views. And now, here's your host, Richard Chew.
Good Tuesday morning, progressives, and welcome to the July 15th, 2025 edition of Choose Views, 773-763-9278, Facebook Live, TuneIn Radio, YouTube, and iHeartRadio. Email me at richard@WCPT820.com. And catch me on Substack. I actually got caught up on a few emails last night. I was a few days behind, guys. I apologize for that, but it was kind of crazy end of last week. and then leading into the weekend with Hal. So thanks for being patient. I hope I got everything out to those of you who sent me dozens and dozens of emails. So thank you very much. My fingers are sore. Catch all of our shows by subscribing to our WCPT podcast on Apple Podcast or Spotify. You can also follow me on, those other things, that thing called the X and, Blue Sky and, what's that guy called? His name is called Threads, that one there, and even Facebook, all under Choose Views. So you can check me out there. But you can also catch the featured interviews and all our good stuff over at our heartlandsignal.com and our webpage. Make your way over there. Choose Views, Joan Esposito, live, local, and progressive. Driving It Home with Patty Vasquez. The Big Picture with Edwin Eisendrath, Out Chicago, and our other shows and interviews. Because you're going to make your way over to heartlandsignal.com, which is our digital platform. So, on today's show, our guest in studio with us will be Eric Heineman, who will be talking about the importance of solar and particularly what we're doing here in Illinois that's been successful and some of the work that his organization has been taking on, and looking forward to chatting with him this morning. And then we will have Congressman Raja Krishnamoorthi, who will be with us as well today. So looking forward to chatting with both of those guys to just kind of have them bring us up to speed in their areas of expertise. And Raj has been doing some work, and he definitely has. So I'm looking forward to chatting with him about so a lot of the pushback. And we've got a couple of good clips that I think you guys will appreciate. But for now, I just want to say how I'm not disappointed, and I'm not surprised. But, oh, my goodness, the Supreme Court, the six, not the entire Supreme Court. For those who said that your vote doesn't matter and you're concerned about how education is going to be strong in America, well, here you go. They've cleared the path. The six cretins have, the creepy ones, I said it, have cleared the path, Devin, for Trump to further gut the Department of Education. And I thought we were trying to be a great country. How do you do that? So MAGA, GOP, Republicans, how do you do that? How do you gut a department that's designed to help in its worst of days to improve our ability to educate and provide support for our country? How do you do that in an area of learning? It's just, it baffles my mind. But then again, I get it, because some of the people who are a part of this regime are some of the dumbest MFers out there. So there you go, and incompetent. So make your way over to Heartland Signal. We've got some great clips that I'll talk about as we get to the bottom of the hour, and things that you guys should be checking out. But right now, little humor and some bleeps, so prepare yourself. Check this out, progressives.
They're planning on deporting 500,000 Haitians. Really? 500,000 Haitians, that's what they're planning on, just taking Haitians. I don't think it's going to be as easy as you think. I know you're sitting up there, you're snatching up a lot of Latinos and shit like that. Well, a lot of Latinos that actually voted for Trump. But I can guarantee you, I don't think a lot of Haitians did. That's why Haitians ain't going to be playing that. I think it's going to be a real tough task, ICE, to with the Haitians. I don't know if you know their history. The Haitians whooped the French's ass. The Haitians freed that Hispaniola island. You had Desolines, Toussaint Louverture. They are freedom fighters. Do you understand? That's the lineage that they come from. So I don't know if ICE, you just going to roll up on some of these Haitians. These Haitians don't play that shit. I have Haitian friends. A lot of us have Haitian friends. I grew up with Haitians my whole life. They a different kind of African. They be like, wait, who are you? We're ICE. Come on. I don't care. I don't need ICE. I have ICE in my refrigerator. You get out of here. I don't need no. You. You're not going to touch me. I live here. You know, and you're not going to do nothing. Oh, you think you're just going to take Haitian and just suck for saying out of here. Yo, I don't know if that Haitian accent was good, but my Haitian friends would probably be mad at me. But you know what the I'm talking about. Respect to the Zoes. Respect to the Zoes. Yo, I really believe they got a fight on their hands if they gonna around with the Haitian community. Haitian, yo, mad respect. I got your back. You know that because ain't nobody with y'all. Oh!
A little bit of comic relief this morning on a political topic. That is a comedian, Godfrey. And I've been saying for a long time, there are going to be some. The downside of folks pushing back is that it gives Trump an opportunity, I should say, to try to enact martial law. That's the downside. We know that. And those of us who are on this side of this conversation recognize that. That's the downside. Which would lead to then him trying to enact some barrier to upcoming elections. And people think that it's just federal elections, and what he'll try to do is get Republican elected officials, I'm not going to call them leaders as best I can, in Republican states to then squash elections. So we understand that that's part of the strategy, the game plan, the insanity. But I don't disagree with Brother Godfrey and his depiction comedically as it relates to ICE snatching up certain communities. It's going to be a different conversation in certain communities. And that is a fact. It's not me chest thumping or anything of that nature. It will be a different situation. And I hope that that doesn't happen. And I hope that we can find a way to not see that, because unfortunately there could be more blood shed in the streets, which we definitely do not need with this knucklehead in office. How in the hell do you, the Supreme, this is it. Again, goes back to, I never want to hear it come out of anybody's mouth again about my vote doesn't count in any election, local, state, federal, it all matters. It does all count. And I understand suppression. So nobody get upset that I'm not talking about that. I understand Electoral College. Nobody get upset that I'm not talking about that in this moment. Okay? For those who want me to talk about the Electoral College all the time, there are so many additional and in addition to other things that we have to talk about. Voter suppression. Folks want me to talk about that more. Okay, I get it. And, not but. And they all matter. But at the end of the day, in my observation, no one should, because of how hard so many people worked and things that were sacrificed for people to have the right to vote, doesn't mean you should take that right for granted and then not show up because you don't think your vote matters. There's no way in heck that 36% roughly of the population, voting population, did not participate. And I'm tired of hearing about what they didn't do to make the people feel more excited about coming out to vote, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Okay, I get that that's the conversation that people have had. But this is one of those moments. The Department of Education would not be at a tipping point of being gutted out had we participated more robustly in the 2016 election, in the midterms during that cycle, in 2018, 2022, but ultimately, 20 and 2022, ultimately the problem is when people don't show up and people don't participate, we get a Supreme Court or part of a Supreme Court nominated by this madman in the White House that will take away something. Because listen, somebody proved to me that nobody in red states gets the benefit of the Department of Education. Or someone proved to me in red districts in a blue state that people there don't get benefits from what the Department of Education has done. Prove it to me. Don't just bark at me about it. Prove it to me. Because the numbers don't lie. Red states and blue states benefit from the support systems that the Department of Education have put in place. And, we failed the test on this one. No pun intended. All right, we're going to take a quick break, guys. The number is 773-763-9278. This is Choose Views on the Credo mobile phone and text line, and we'll be right back.
That's the sound of the ComEd Energy Efficiency Program, saving you money and energy. With rebates on Energy Star appliances, so you can come back to a home full of savings. Discover more ways to save at ComEd.com/home savings. ComEd, powering lives.
This is WCPT telling you how you can shop blue. Donald Trump has implemented a barbaric anti-immigration policy with mass deportations and having ICE agents showing up unannounced at people's homes, workplaces, and anywhere they suspect, separating families, ruining lives, and deporting people without any due process. But one company is taking a stand against Donald Trump. Greyhound Bus Lines has implemented a no warrant, no boarding policy. This prohibits ICE agents to enter the vehicle without a warrant. Greyhound Bus says they want to guarantee the rights and civil liberties of their passengers. Greyhound Bus is the largest inner-city bus system in the U.S., with over 1,600 destinations. Maybe this will lead to more companies stepping up like Greyhound is. This has been WCPT telling you how you can shop blue.
Because facts matter. You are listening to WCPT 820.
Good morning. You're waking up with Richard Chew.
Good morning. Good morning. Good morning.
We're live and ready to hear from you. Text or call us now at 773-763-9278. Same number. Simple as that. Let's get the conversation going on WCPT 820. Chicago's Progressive Talk.
Hey, progressives, welcome back to the show. Make your way over to Heartland Signal, our digital platform. There are some really great clips, as always, that we have ready for you to check out. Everything from Tammy Duckworth talking about what Republicans are doing to hurt the middle class, what folks down in Arkansas are doing to promote laws that mislead fertility treatment centers on access and IVF, as well as what the Missouri Governor Kehoe is doing with regard to paid leave being removed from folks that are employees in the state. So make your way over to Heartland Signal and check out some of the clips that we have there. And we'll try to play maybe a couple of them for you tomorrow's broadcast. Yeah, guys, I think that how do I say this? Folks just got it wrong. Now the Supreme Court is giving the Trump administration, to get the Trump regime, say it 3 times. What's that movie? Candyman? Yeah, or something like that. Oh, Beetlejuice. What? Beetlejuice. Thank you. Not Candyman. Sorry about that for the Beetlejuice fans. All right, guys. Regime, that's what they're doing. They're taking away things that are support systems for parts of the country that we all benefit from, and education is one of them. I guess that's why we have so many dumb you-know-whats in our country. Sorry, it's just the truth. All right, Devin, let's hit them with a couple of Choose Views news items here on July 15th, 2025. The demand for used EVs is accelerating, no pun intended. Discounts and soon-to-expire federal tax credits are pushing buyers to snap up used electric vehicles, according to the Wall Street Journal, citing data from Cox Automotive. For the first time ever, used EV sales topped 100,000 over the second quarter, while new EV sales dipped for 3 straight months. Faster depreciation and lower maintenance costs have enticed drivers to switch to electric, since they stand to save about $900 a year compared to gas-powered cars, based on analysis from AAA. Broadcasters, public broadcasters, we all have been hearing this rumbling. The future of public broadcasting could hang in the balance as Congress prepares to vote on a bill that would decimate federal funding. And we may talk about this with Congressman Krishnamoorthi. The Senate has until Friday to consider a House proposal to slash over $500 million annually from the Corporation for Public Broadcasting, while NPR and PBS would largely be spared nationally because of their separate revenue streams. Passage would devastate local stations in mostly rural areas that rely on federal dollars for the majority of their budgets. 30% of the country could lose access to NPR programming, and primarily in rural communities. And what's the downstroke can play on that? If we can get rural communities less informed, less involved, less aware, they're going to be less likely to vote for who? Democrats. Because who's going to tell the truth? Democrats. And for you who live in rural communities, you voted for this, so there you go. I guess I'm a little snarky today, so Devin likes it when I'm snarky. He doesn't say it, but I know he likes it when I'm snarky. State departments to begin the mass layoffs. So just like the Department of Education, we're seeing some of the similar cuts or types of cuts at the State Department. I saw videos of people leaving and hugging yesterday. From the Foreign Service officers and civil servants, more than 1,300 are being laid off, according to the Wall Street Journal. But ultimately, including previous deferred resignations, the agency is aiming to reduce its 18,000-strong workforce by 50% in order to reduce, this is a lie, the quote word bloat. The move follows a Supreme Court decision that allows the Trump administration to enact layoffs across the government. That's crazy. These cuts, these layoffs, this gutting is going to impact local economies as well, not just in Washington. Newsflash. The declining dollar has hit U.S. travelers. European vacation will cost American tourists extra this summer. The dollar is off to its worst start against 6 rival currencies in 50 years, according to the Wall Street Journal. Reports showing that this is dinging travelers abroad. The dollar has dropped 13% against the euro this year. Is the mainstream media talking about that? Are we hearing that, Devin, coming out of anything in the mainstream media? All of them. Are we hearing that this conversation or questions that are being asked of Caroline Leavitt? Why is the dollar value drop? She probably wouldn't know what the hell that means anyhow. But anyhow, I'm snarky today. Concerns over tariffs, inflation, and rising debt have shaken confidence in the broader U.S. economy, and a weakening dollar only is accelerating those who are losing confidence. And last but not least, Starbucks has set a RTO ultimatum. Starbucks continues to accelerate its push to return corporate staffers to its headquarters, raising the number of weekly in-office workdays from 3 to 4 starting this fall. The company will also require a broader range of previously remote workers to relocate to Seattle or Toronto within the year, with the company offering voluntary buyouts to employees unhappy with the new policies. So there you go. Changes and things. This gutting is just absolutely, it makes no sense. It's what they want to do, but it doesn't make any sense. And the big issue for me, and it's not the only issue, it's probably my biggest issue, is the impact that it has on local economies. Not every person that works for a federal agency works in Washington, D.C. Many of them work in markets outside of Washington, D.C., and we've had the data in the past that shows the number of people that work in communities where they're going to be greatly impacted by this insanity. And, you know, I want to, when we talk to Congressman Krishnamoorthi, I will ask him some questions, hopefully, about that, about these two departments. I know he's got a particular concern, being that he's from Peoria, with the NPR and PBS situation and the funding there. But I could go on and on about this thing with the Department of Education. Many people will sit back and they'll say things like, bring jobs back to America. We need to have more done manufacturing. And the list goes on of all these people who are just, garbage talking about what the Democratic Party hasn't done. And some of these voices are on the left and most certainly on the right. But at the end of the day, the one thing the Democratic Party has not done is take away benefits that are going to help people in their worst of times. And in the education area, it's designed to make sure that we've got a backstop for loans, we got a backstop for grants, we got a backstop for providing a national sense of we know what the hell we're trying to do in educating our community. Now, they don't run the state departments of education, but they help in the organization and to some extent some of the funding. So the problem with gutting the Department of Education, this is what cracks me up. When you look at the 6 justices who, and I didn't get a chance to pull all this quickly enough, but the 6 justices that have voted to give him the ability to do this, is that somebody in their family. I can't say that the 6 of them went to public school. I think the only one, not even Clarence, but I don't know enough about that in this moment, so I don't want to go down that path. But here's what I will tell you. I'll bet dollars to donuts that there's members of their family that have benefited from what the public education system has done. They've benefited in some way from the Department of Education being there as a backstop to help some member of their family further their lives. That I can bet you on. And even if they all went to private school, in terms of high school, as an example, or grade school through high school, the 6 justices that have voted this way, how about not pulling the ladder up for other people who need this backstop, who need this support system? And then, so that's part of the conversation and with regard to the Department of Education. But then this is a question that nobody is answering. And it's probably because nobody's asking it, which is why I should be in that White House press conference room, Devin, so I can ask Carolyn Levitt this question. This is a question, there's many. I've got a list of things I would ask her. I'd get kicked out of the room, but they'd be out there. Devin just smiled. See, my snark got him again. I would be asking her, so the money that's supposedly going to be saved by you gutting, and I would list 2 or 3 agencies, what's going to happen with that money? Tell the country what's going to happen with that money. And the minute she starts to go down her little rant, I would cut her off and say, you did not answer my question. The country wants to know what's going to happen with that money. Rural red state voters want to know what's happening with the money that you so-called are saving by gutting these organizations. What's going to happen with the Caroline? Can't you tell us? See, the problem is too many of the people that, and I know that they kind of whittled down who was going to be allowed in the press conference that they hold because they don't want the questions because they know that exposure would embarrass the hell out of them. But if they let me in, you can count on it. I would get thrown out. I would do, and I'm getting a little bit ahead of myself, but not in a bad way. I would get into some good trouble. Hint, hint, July 17th. And this would be where I'd get into some good trouble. I would let Carolyn Levitt know, I'm asking you these tough questions because you don't seem to know how to answer them. Don't read us your notes. Answer the question. Where's the money going to go? And is this once again, your boss pocketing the money or trying to get it into the pockets of his friends? We want to know. The country wants to know, where's the money going to go? If you can't answer it, you shouldn't be in the job. See, but they don't have people in the room. I shouldn't say entirely. There's not enough people in the room that are asking questions like that and being hardcore about it. It's time. Make her answer those questions. And if she's not willing to answer the questions, they need to stop playing footsie with her and say, then you need to leave this job because you don't know how to do this job. The country wants to know answers to these questions, not your babbling on. Get thrown out of a room. And this is what cracks me up about it. Get thrown out of a room. Have the courage like Senator Padilla did and Representative McKeever in New Jersey. Have the courage to put it on the line. And unfortunately, and I know how it works in the back room behind the closed doors. Many of the folks that are the leading, managers and executives at some of the media outlets don't want those questions asked in the first place because they don't want to get the phone call from the Trump regime, like CBS got and like others have received, ABC, to tone it down. They don't want to get that phone call. That's ultimately what this is about. But we should know where the money is going that they're taking from the Department of Education and where that money is going that's coming out of reducing the quote-unquote bloat in the State Department. I'll tell you who needs some bloat removal, and that's that disgusting thing that's been named president that sits in the White House. That's who needs some bloat reduction. But there you go. Snark today. 773-763-9278. When we come back from this break, we'll have some clips and we'll have some current events to chat with you about. We'll keep it moving. Talk to you in a bit. We'll be right back.
With MedGuard Alert, you're never alone. You can connect with medical professionals anywhere, anytime. And now MedGuard is introducing our exclusive new Care Watch. If you need help quickly, use it from anywhere to contact medical professionals. No cell phone required. The Care Watch is not only a life-saving medical alert device, it's a revolutionary health monitoring system that checks your blood pressure, heart rate, oxygen saturation, and much more. And here's the best part. If you have Medicaid, you may qualify to get your Care Watch for free. The Care Watch is only available through MedGuard Alert. Call us right now. We have monitoring programs starting as low as $1 a day. The call is free, activation is free, shipping is free, and no contract is required. Remember, with Medicaid, you may qualify to get your Care Watch for free. Call us to get your Care Watch right now.
800-741-5819. 800-741-5819. 800-741-5819. That's 800-741-5819.
You are listening to WCPT 820. Here's the latest Chicago weather update.
From the Weatherology Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Jennifer Wojcicki. We'll see sunny skies here for today, high around 90 degrees. Winds out of the southwest around 5 to 10 miles per hour. Then for tonight, partly cloudy skies with a low near 74. By Wednesday, a chance for showers and thunderstorms here late. Blend of clouds and sunshine develops, high of 91. Thursday, another chance for showers and storms, cloudy, high of 78 degrees. That's your latest Chicago weather update.
Currently, it's 73.
Hey Google, play WCPT.
Streaming Chicago's progressive talk from TuneIn.
It's Choose View with Richard Chew on WCPT 820, where facts matter.
Welcome back, progressives, liberals, Democrats, Republicans, leaving MAGAs, all the rest. We got to lean in together. All our players means all of our players. So the Epstein files. Let me touch this real quickly. I got a text, and what the Democrats should be doing in terms of pounding on this. I agree, but let me also just point out that Republicans in committee had a no vote to Congressman Ro Khanna's amendment to address this issue, and all the Republicans on the committee voted no. So they're covering. So here's the party that wants to not have folks grooming children, meaning trying to put this off on the LGBTQ community, trying to put this off on Democrats at large. But here's the party that says that all these protections, we have to take care of our kids and all this other garbage that comes out of their mouths. But guess what? It's the same party that in committee just voted down Ro Khanna's proposal for this amendment to further expose the Epstein files. So they know they no longer get the cover of, they want to see, they're curious. They know that their boy is acted in a way that would represent being a pedophile. So nobody can say I called him a pedophile. They know that their boy acted in a way that would make it reasonable to investigate his pedophilia actions there. So, done Republicans with you pretending to be the ones to protect the economy, because you just blew that up, to make sure that we are less war mongering. You just let him do that. You let him drop bombs in Iran. That the party that cares about family, because if you did, then you wouldn't have passed a bill that's going to gut families and the support that they need. That you care about having a brighter, smarter, stronger, make America great again country, or you wouldn't want to gut the Department of Education. The party that talks about being strong when it comes to foreign policy and making sure that we're a leader when it comes to the conversations around what we have to do with our allies, because you wouldn't be gutting the State Department. And now, in committee, Republicans, party line, voted no on an amendment from Ro Khanna to go after the Epstein files. You voted no on that. I thought you were about protecting families and children. It's all lies. It's all BS. And any person out there that's a troll, bring it on, because your party is full of garbage. It just is. And we as Democrats do have to pound on this every day. I know it can take energy. I don't want to say it's tiring. I know it can take energy. But we have to keep pounding on it because the Republican Party is acting. Now, if they're going back to the clip I played a couple of times over the last week of Allison Camerata and the 8 folks that she interviewed that said that they're voting straight Democratic ticket, I get that. But they got to do the work. If they're coming back to some sensibility, they have to do the work. They don't just get to say, okay, I made a mistake, I'm back. No, you got to come back and do work. We can be welcoming, but you got to go to work. You got to bring some people with you. You got to get out there. You got to be loud and proud. Otherwise, we do have to kind of put you on timeout. So, other than that, the Republican GOP MAGA party regime little cookout group just is acting like garbage. Every single one of these things that the Republican Party and this regime is going to do is going to impact you, your family, somebody that you know. There's no question about it. It just is. So please stop giving me this. The Republican Party cares about the American people. Oh, and I didn't even get to military. Okay? They care about the military. They're patriot. No. All a bunch of garbage. And you don't get the comfort anymore. We're not going to let you have the comfort, MAGA, GOP, Republicans, of you didn't know. You say you know everything. How could you not have known that these are the things that are going to happen, particularly when they put it in a document of over 900 pages known as Project 2025? So we have to keep fighting. And some of the clips that I have put together with Devin today are about people who are speaking their truth and fighting. And when I hear folks say the Dems aren't doing enough, well, okay, I'm going to put a kind of press pause on that language. Because I asked the question, well, what are you doing? So in a moment, we're going to have a few clips for you guys that are going to speak to some of the things that the voices in the Democratic Party are putting out, or at least putting some of the voices that are speaking to some of the things that we want them to speak about. But in a moment, let's talk about a couple of current events that I've been meaning to get to you guys. I said a moment ago about getting into good trouble. Thursday, the 17th is Thursday? Yeah, Thursday the 17th. That is a day that many people are going to be out in a pro-democracy sort of rallying and across the country, July 17th, to honor and uplift John Lewis's Good Trouble idea with the day of Good Trouble Lives On. And that's Thursday, the 17th. You guys know the late congressman used the phrase good trouble to refer to the idea of creating positive change through non-violent action and activism. And to mark the 5 years since his passing, July 17th of 2020, there are going to be allies across the country that are working together to push this message. John Lewis goes back to the 60s, 65, his marching, his work, being on the Edmund Pettus Bridge at Bloody Sunday. That was somebody that was doing the work. And so, there is going to be an effort on Thursday, the 17th, to honor that and kind of giving us all a reminder that it's okay for any and all of us to get into some good trouble. Other things to be mindful of. Democrats are planning on storming some not the congressional buildings, but they're planning on a series of rallies and marches and town halls in where Republican-held districts. That's what should be happening, and the goal is to put this bill in the faces of the voters in those Republican districts. And Minority Leader Jeffries and other Democrats are going to be holding a variety of speeches and rallies and marches and town halls in GOP districts. We've been talking about it here, me specifically, others have. I've been saying for a long time, they need to go into their backyards and start stealing their candy. Candy being, I'm using that phrase loosely as it relates to their voters. Go into their districts and let the voters know this is exactly what they did to you in this district. This is what's going to happen to you in this district, and we tried to stop it. That's the message. It has to be that hardcore. And I've been asking for this as well. And maybe they're listening. Maybe the representatives that we have had on have taken this back to Washington. I don't know. If there's any inkling that we've had an impact from this station and from this show, then I'm thankful as heck. But now we're starting to see pictures of Democratic House members on the steps of the Capitol building. That's what we need to see. That unified effort has to be made public. It has to be visual. People need to see that these elected officials, Democratic elected officials, are out and speaking to these issues and being willing to fight. Call me crazy, but I think it has to happen. So it's good to see that Democrats are going to, they're not going to be asleep. They are going to recognize they do have power, and to say that they don't have power would be wrong. But they're going to make their way into GOP districts. I'm really happy to see that, more than I can tell you. So, but as I said, speaking of fighting back, speaking of speaking their truth, we've got a couple of our elected officials from the Senate, from some governor's mansions, and some mayor's offices that have been doing that in ways that is way past due. But I want to hit you guys with a couple of them right now. We're going to hit you with one, and we'll come to a break, and we'll come back and hit you with a few others. Let's go to Senator John Ossoff's clip.
I don't want to hear another Republican member of Congress ever again pretend to care about deficits and debt. These cowards and hypocrites in the Freedom Caucus, they make their entire fake persona about cutting deficits. And then they get threatened with a primary and they fold for a Big Mac on Air Force One. So now our kids and our kids' kids and their grandkids have $4 trillion more debt to pay down. And it's not even like it's for a good cause. It's so someone worth $50 million can buy another vacation home to visit once a year. Meanwhile, there are plenty of things that are worth public investment. I would like one of my Republican colleagues to explain why an American family has to pay $3,000 to ride a few miles in an ambulance to the hospital, when we're handing out $1 million tax breaks to the wealthiest people in the country. I want to hear them explain that. Or why they're canceling the projects that actually can make a difference for hardworking people in our state.
That was Senator John Ossoff speaking in Savannah, Georgia. That's a senator that we've got to make sure that he holds that seat that he's running for, because that other creature from Georgia, Green, is, going to throw her hat in the ring. But this is, yes, they trade their dignity for, a sandwich on Air Force One. That's who the Republican Party is. Let's stop playing this footsie game with who they are and what they represent. We as the voters, we as the folks that are out here with voices to the best of our ability, have to keep talking about they are acting like garbage. I'm not going to say individuals necessarily are, unless they give me reason to, but we have to keep saying what they're acting like and what they're doing and what they're supporting, or what they're not doing and what they're not supporting is acting like garbage. It just is. I've said this before, and we've all talked about this. We've given too much territory, political territory and literal territory. We can't do that anymore. It's time. It's punch in the mouth conversations. It's fighters like Senator John Ossoff and what he had to say in that moment in Savannah. When we come back, we've got a couple other clips of folks who are speaking their truth that are Democratic elected officials, and I want you guys to hear. The number is 773-763-9278. When we come back, we've got a couple clips for you. We'll get your calls. We'll be right back.
DQ presents How to Make Your Summer Take Flight. Just head into DQ for our new Superman Cake Batter Cookie Dough Blizzard Treat. Treat your inner hero to an epic mix of sugar cookie dough, sprinkles, and cake batter flavor. Blend it all with legendary DQ soft serve, and it's enough to tempt Superman himself. Fly into DQ for our new Superman Cake Batter Cookie Dough Blizzard Treat before it's gone. And don't miss Superman, only in theaters July 11th. DQ, happy tastes good. Only at participating locations.
Some people just know they could save hundreds on car insurance by checking Allstate first. Like, you know to check you have your phone first, before the cab pulls away.
Hey, thanks, man. No, wait, my phone! Come back! It's got my boarding pass, credit cards, phone numbers, my life! Come back!
Checking first is smart. So check Allstate first for a quote that could save you hundreds. You're in good hands with Allstate.
Savings vary. Subject to terms, conditions, and availability. Allstate Fire and Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates, Northbrook, Illinois.
WCPT 820, Chicago's progressive talk, where facts matter.
It's Choose Views with Richard Chu on WCPT 820, Chicago's progressive talk.
Hey guys, welcome back to the show. Let's grab a couple of quick calls, Devin. Let's go to Andre here in Chicago. Good morning, Andre, and welcome to Choose Views.
Hey, good morning to you, Mr. Chu. How you doing?
I'm good, man. I got a little crazy, scratchy throat this morning, but I'm also a little snarky, as you can probably tell by now. How are you doing, Andre?
I'm doing good, thank you. I like the snarky in you. We need a bit of snarky from time to time. And maybe you can get someone to go out and grab you some Hall's cough drops or something to kind of help you out and drink some water.
I got a couple in the car, so I'll make it through the show. But thank you, brother. I appreciate that. What's going on?
Yes. So I just want to address a couple of things that you talk about. First of all, if voting doesn't matter, then why did Mitt Romney and Barack Obama spend like $1 billion trying to get elected?
Mm-hmm.
If it didn't matter, they could have just took that money and bought the election. This is what people don't think about. Why would somebody spend their money if your vote doesn't matter? I'm with you, Mr. Chu. Your vote does matter. And I never doubted our vote. I always knew that our vote mattered. We just have to voting blocks and come out and vote in numbers, and it does matter. And I want to say, the Democrats should see if they can go to court and get an injunction to prevent Pam Bondi and the Justice Department from destroying Jeffrey Epstein and Donald Trump's records. See, I don't put nothing past this Republican Party. They are crooked and they'll do things, and they may destroy the paperwork. Lastly, I got a good one for you, and then I'll hang up. I wish that the Democrats would go and talk with Anita Hill to see if she can produce some different or new evidence on Clarence Thomas so they can hold hearings on him. You got to play the Republicans' game. The Republicans they hold a hearing on everything. So yeah, we can get that back out into the zeitgeist. So you got to use every tool available to fight against these Republicans.
Yeah, you do, Andre, and I appreciate the just being bold about what you're saying. I mean, we have to do that. There's no need to be afraid. There's no need to be while people are wasting time being afraid, they're taking our stuff. So I say that meaning all of us as Americans. So punch them in the mouth. That's where I am right now. And when I heard this thing about the Department of Education, Andre, and the State Department, I just like that's going to impact local economies, and people don't even have enough sense to realize that.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. Well, I think that's part of the dumbing down of America. You want to ban books, you want to give it a Board of Education, and you want to indoctrinate people and their kids. That's what I see behind that.
Good point. Andre, thanks for the medical advice. I will get some Halls when I get out to the car later on. So thank you so much for your call, man. I appreciate you. Stay safe today, okay?
Yes, Mr. Chu. Have a good rest of the day.
You too. Stay hydrated. It's going to be hot today in Chicago. All right, guys. Let's go to our man, Paul, out in Seattle. Hey, good morning, Paul, and welcome to the show.
Hey, Rich. What's happening?
Hey, man, I'm doing good. What's going on?
Yeah, well, I'm up early on the machine, getting my workout in.
There you go.
Okay, so I heard this on NBC Radio News on WCPT on Saturday. That the federal government reports $27 billion raised in additional revenue from the tariffs.
Yeah, I know.
Now, I didn't believe this. I did hear this on a right-wing show here in Seattle, and I talked to the host, and I said, he was saying $30, $35 billion a month. And I said, where are you getting your numbers? Send me the link. he said, I got it from an interview. And I said, okay, you didn't want to press your guest for the data, okay. But as far as I'm concerned, until I get something from a credible news source, that's hearsay.
Yep.
Well, we got it from a credible news source, $27 billion in June, which accounts for, this pencils out to $80 for every man, woman, child in the United States in June that you got dinged for in additional sales tax. That's what a tariff is.
Yep.
That's $320 to a family of four just for June. That's definitely a week's worth of groceries, maybe a month's worth of gasoline. You won't be going to Ravenna or to a ball game because of that. So there you go. And that pencils out to about $4,000 a year at that rate, depending on how Mr. Orange Baby Pants wants to increase them. Because it had said that in April and May it was about $30 billion, so that's $90 a month. So we're getting dinged for about $85 a month. Okay, so let me ask you this, Rich. And this is to pay for more giveaways to Elon Musk and the rich. But did you hear during the big, beautiful bill that was supposed to be so great, did you ever hear one member of the GOP Congress give his elevator pitch about how this is going to benefit the average family of four making X amount of dollars a year? Ever? Not even one.
Not even once.
Not even one talked about it. That's because you ain't getting one. The tax cuts are for the rich, and you're already paying them. And by the way, $27 billion a month doesn't even account for any new positive economic indicators. In other words, they're not raising this money because people are making more money.
Right.
That's just sales tax. Remember, that's sales tax.
That's right.
On products, on goods that are already going up.
It's the pass-through that they allow themselves to have so that they could get this bill through. It's the pass-through. It has nothing to do with new revenue that's coming from increasing the sale of XYZ. It's because of how they covered themselves, making it sound like this was going to these tariffs are going to be actually paid by countries or companies. In fact, the companies are passing it on to the consumer. And so,
and Trump's now threatening. Well, I'm threatening Russia with 50% tariffs. No, he's threatening us with 50% tariffs on Russia, whatever we get from there.
Yep.
Whenever he says he's threatening somebody with tariffs, he's threatening us.
That's right.
That's what he's doing.
That's absolutely right. Paul, thanks, man. Appreciate you, and get that good workout in, and we always appreciate your contribution. So have a good day today.
Take care, man.
All right, take care. All right. Is my mic mute?
You're on.
I'm on? Okay, good. There we go. I had a little moment there, guys. Paul is right. And the problem with this is people aren't paying attention to it. That's the big issue. Folks are not. The bill has. I don't know. How do I want to put this? What the bill is really doing is, or the Republicans' way of getting the bill through, was a distraction from the honesty that should be in front of American citizens. The bill is the bill, but the structure of it, the way it was put together, the lies that are inside of it, and the harm that's inside of it. To Paul's point, there was no conversation about, well, here's how you're going to get X, Y, and Z from this bill once we pass it. There was none of that conversation. Nothing that was substantive. So, Republicans, once again, acting like garbage. And speaking of the tariffs, before we go to this break, we've got one other clip from Governor Andy Beshear talking about the awfulness of not only the bill, but also the tariffs and how the tariffs are actually indirectly impacting this bill.
He told me this week he plans to implement blanket tariffs of up to 20% across the board on America's trading partners. As you know, he won your state by some 30 points in 2024. So let me ask you, is this what the people of Kentucky voted for?
No, not at all. This is, what was it, first across the board, then reciprocal, then industry specific. I think there was a company specific tariff proposed. Now we have tariffs on countries if he doesn't like who that country is prosecuting. It is chaos. It is increasing costs. You know, the people of Kentucky, many of them voted for Donald Trump because they thought he'd make paying the bills a little bit easier at the end of the week, and he's just making it harder. I'm seeing small businesses lay people off because of the tariffs on the raw materials that they get. And then Americans put things together and sell them from that. And when a small business is laying somebody off, it's somebody they go to church with. It's somebody who their kids play soccer with. This is going to impact the economy in such negative ways, especially our economy. And then look at what he's doing to critical trading partners like Canada. 22% of our exports go to Canada, or Japan, who he's pushing towards China. Japan invests in Kentucky at a level of almost no other state. You know, the largest Toyota manufacturing facility isn't in Japan, it's in Georgetown, Kentucky.
Small businesses being impacted. This is the thing that we have to talk about. Small businesses in any community, but particularly smaller communities, we're going to see those businesses fail. Some of them are already, medium-sized businesses are already, for the last probably 12 weeks, the second quarter of this year, we're looking at the hard reality that they were going to have to close up. What about the farmers? I mean, I got a clip, we'll probably play this tomorrow, about the farming situation. It's beyond frustrating, and that's why we have to keep fighting. That's why we have to keep doing our best here to inform you guys of what folks are doing and where you can have a direction to go to fight, and why you have to fight. And we're a good broken record, because John Lewis would say, keep getting into good trouble. So, guys, we're going to take a break. When we come back, we will have with us one of those folks that's fighting to make sure that we've got a slightly better environment. That will be Eric Heineman. We'll be right back.
This is a WCPT Veteran Minute. In the heart of World War II, while the skies rumbled with the roar of combat, a groundbreaking squad of pilots emerged from the segregated South, the Tuskegee Airmen. An elite group of African-American pilots defied the odds with their courage and skills. Trained at the Tuskegee Army Airfield in Alabama, they became the first black aviators in the U.S. military. Despite facing racism and skepticism, they soared through the skies, unmatched precision, escorting bombers and earning a distinguished reputation for their bravery. Their red-tailed P-51 Mustangs became a symbol of excellence and resilience, and in 2007, the Tuskegee Airmen were finally honored as they were awarded the Congressional Gold Medal. These aviators didn't just fight for victory in the air, they battled for equality on the ground, forever altering the landscape of the American military and inspiring generations to come. This has been a WCPT Veteran Minute.
When you speed, you have less time to react. Follow the speed limit in order to keep other road users safe. Speeding catches up with you. Paid for by NHTSA.
AP News, I'm Marcela Sanchez. Mike Waltz will face questioning today from lawmakers for the first time since he was ousted as National Security Advisor in the weeks after he mistakenly added a journalist to a private signal chat used to discuss sensitive military plans. President Trump has nominated him to be U.S. Ambassador to the United Nations and will appear today for his confirmation hearing. AP's Lisa Dwyer reports that the Trump administration can now move forward with its plans to dismantle the Education Department.
The Supreme Court is allowing President Donald Trump to put his plan to dismantle the Education Department back on track and go through with his laying off of nearly 1,400 employees. The Supreme Court paused an order from a U.S. district judge who had issued a preliminary injunction reversing Trump's layoffs, saying it would likely cripple the Education Department. A federal appeals court then refused to put that order on hold, while the administration appealed to the Supreme Court. With the three liberal justices on the Supreme Court in dissent, Justice Sonia Sotomayor wrote that when the executive publicly announces its intent to break the law and then executes on that promise, it is the judiciary's duty to check that lawlessness, not expedite it. I'm Lisa Dwyer.
A Colorado dentist accused of killing his wife by poisoning her protein shakes begins trial with opening arguments this week. James Gregg has denied all charges, including first-degree murder. And heavy rain swept across parts of the Northeast, flooding sections of New York and New Jersey. The worst of the rain has moved on as of this morning, but some roads and streets are still flooded. Andrea Gibson, the celebrated poet and performance artist, died Monday at age 49 after their 4-year battle with terminal ovarian cancer. This is AP News. A catcher nicknamed Big Dumper is this year's All-Star home run champion in baseball. Correspondent Gethin Coolball reports.
Seattle's Cal Raleigh won his first All-Star home run derby after leading the big leagues in homers going into the break, defeating Tampa Bay's Junior Caminero 18-15 in the final round at Atlanta.
Kind of surreal, you don't think you're going to win it, and you don't think you're ever going to get invited, and then you get invited, and the fact that you win it with your family and super special.
The Mariners' breakout slugger advanced from the first round on a tiebreaker by less than an inch over the Athletics' Brent Rooker. He won his semifinal 19-13 over Pittsburgh's O'Neill Cruz, whose 513-foot first-round drive over Truist Park's right center field seats was the longest of the night. I'm Gethin Coolbaugh.
More information at apnews.com. I'm Marcela Sanchez.
This is 820 AM, WCPT Willow Springs, and streaming worldwide at WCPT820.com. We are Chicago's progressive talk, where facts matter. Now, your WCPT 820 weather update.
From the Weatherology Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Jennifer Wojcicki. We'll see sunny skies here for today, high around 90 degrees. Winds out of the southwest around 5 to 10 miles per hour. Then for tonight, partly cloudy skies with a low near 74. By Wednesday, a chance for showers and thunderstorms here late. Blend of clouds and sunshine develops, high 91. Thursday, another chance for showers and storms, cloudy, high of 78 degrees. That's your latest Chicago weather update.
Currently, it's 75.
Do you have over $10,000 in credit card debt? If you're feeling the financial impact with unprecedented economic challenges, DebtBlue is here for you. With DebtBlue's Success Guarantee, you pay nothing unless your debt is reduced or completely resolved.
I'm just living sky high right now. I'm very thankful for it, and the team at DebtBlue are phenomenal. They're able to work with you. They're great.
Call for your free debt resolution information now. 800-200-6895. 800-200-6895.
This is WCPT 820, where facts matter.
Welcome to Choose Views with Richard Chew. Get ready to dive into a world of insightful conversations and thought-provoking discussions.
As progressives, our job is to have an all-inclusive, full-on assault with all of our players.
A show that focuses on moving our political, social, economic, gender, and cultural conversation forward.
And all of our players means all of our players.
It's Choose Views. And now, here's your host, Richard Chew.
Welcome back to the show. 773-763-9278 is our Credo mobile phone and text line. Let's see. Let's get a couple quick reminders in. Today, live, local, and progressive, Joan Esposito will be taking your calls, talking to Quena Lohman, Communications Associate at the American Economic Liberties Project, and a contributor to the Washington Monthly. Stuart Reynolds, a.k.a. Brittle Star, author of the 2025 book, Lessons from Cats for Surviving Fascism. And Chris Burr, a senior journalist in residence at DePaul University. That's live, local, and progressive. Joan Esposito, 2 to 5 p.m. here on WCPT, Chicago's progressive talk for 20 years and a couple of extra months. Also tonight on Driving It Home, Patty Vasquez will be joined by co-host Dan Schaefer, and their guests are Joyce Porter, president and founder of the Oak Park Film Festival, something you guys will want to check out. Alex Hackworth, regional organizing director for Unite New York, on ranked choice voting and the recent New York City mayoral primary. Illinois State Senator Laura Fine promoting Thursday's Good Trouble rally. See, I told you guys about that earlier in Arlington Heights, and her candidacy to replace retiring Jan Schakowsky in representing the 9th Congressional District. Joel Blyfus and Justin Perkins of Barn Raiser, an independent source for rural and small town news. That's Driving It Home with Patty Vasquez, weekdays 5 to 7 here on WCPT, Heartland Signal, TuneIn, YouTube, and Facebook. And tomorrow, it's Wednesday, so Kurt Mullett from Hoosier Blue 63 will be with us, as well as Cook County Commissioner and candidate for Congress Kevin Morrison, Jen Goldbeck, professor and computer science psychologist, expert in the far-right online extremism. We'll be looking forward to talking to those guests. And speaking of guests, with us today in studio is someone that's doing some important, it's local, but it's important on a national level, because as I've said so many times, me, you, and 8 other people could be walking down the street and we're all breathing the same air. Me, you, and 8 other people could be anywhere and we're all experiencing the environment at the same time. And those other 8 may not be progressives, but they sure are experiencing the same environment that we are at the same time. So I have with us one of the leaders at Windfree Solar, and that's Eric Heineman. Good morning, Eric, and welcome to the show.
Good morning. Thanks for having me.
Thanks for coming in. So take a moment. I could tell folks a little more about you, but you do that. Let our listeners know a little bit about you, a little bit about Windfree, and the great work that you guys are doing.
Sure. So we've been around since 2009. We actually started during the recession. So a great time to start a solar company. The first install was at Burr Elementary, a Chicago public school in Wicker Park, Bucktown neighborhood in Chicago. Oprah Winfrey was there at the install, announcing a big gift to CPS, unrelated to our little tiny ribbon cutting of our solar panels and wind turbine. The founder didn't have a name for the company. He said, Oprah, hey, how about Windfree to Oprah? And she's like, I love it, just don't spell it that way. So that's why we're Windfree.
Got it.
We used to do more wind. Now we just do solar. That's been going on for a while. Chicago-based solar company. We're equity-eligible contractors. It's a title given by the state. We're MBEs. We're Latino and Native American owned, and we're Chicago-based. And we do a lot of residential solar, commercial solar, community solar, kind of all across the board. But that's all we do. And we usually are doing about 200 installations, mostly residential a year, and then about 25 commercial is kind of our norm. But then we're in the Jefferson Park neighborhood, and we've been Chicago-based, Chicagoland focused this whole time. We also go all over the state, but I'd say Chicagoland's our main market due to incredible incentives from the state that also help with the federal tax credits.
Got it. So you mentioned a word earlier, and I was paying attention, and I didn't write it down. It's killing me. It was right before you described being an MBE. What's the
equity eligible contractor?
Thank you.
Yes. That's a IPA term. It's a state of Illinois only thing right now.
What does it mean?
So it means that amongst ownership of the company and employees, we have a certain amount of equity eligible people.
Okay.
And to be considered equity eligible people, those folks, owners or employees or both, have to either come from a solar job training program, or formerly incarcerated, or foster care system, or live and work in an environmental justice low income area. Kind of the 4 ways. You just need one pathway.
Okay.
Per person. What that really means breaks down to we're about 30 people right now as a company. About a third are equity eligible folks.
Okay.
And then our general makeup is about a third Latino, a third Black, a third everything else.
Got it.
Yeah. But of all those people, we have people coming from job training programs, formerly incarcerated, or foster care.
Got it. Well, I love the everything else, because when we look at our numbers of our look at our demographics and how our cities are broken down or built up, I should say, by the diversity and the progressiveness of our communities. It doesn't surprise me that a group like yours is doing the work that benefits not just those communities of ethnicity, if you will, or of color, or those that have been trying to be marginalized, but it really benefits everybody. That's why I've used this phrase, and I said it to Eric before we came on, that and once we came, as part of the intro, I should say, me, you, and 8 other people are walking down the street. We're breathing the same air at the same time. Those other 8 could be stone cold folks from part of MAGA, but we're breathing the same air. Same situation. We're out and about. 10 of us, 8 of the people could be non-believers in whatever, but at the end of the day, the data backs up the importance of developing and increasing our use of some of our natural resources to maintain and sustain our planet. You guys have leaned into that. What took you down that path, Eric? If there were, and I don't want to make an assumption here and put words in your mouth, but I'll ask the question, was there a moment where you went, I got to do something about this? I've been in the fight doing various things, but I got to do something about this.
For me, it goes back a long time. I'm a city kid. I grew up in Rogers Park. Eventually moved back to Rogers Park, but grew up on the lake and spent some summers in high school going to Quatico, Canada, which is the boundary waters, Canada side.
Go ahead.
Yeah,
Sorry.
yeah, and you drink the water from the lake, and there's no cars, there's no planes. It's like the most primitive camping you can do, and I think that helped instill that environmental ethic way back then.
Okay.
But then also growing up on the lake and coming from the most socioeconomically diverse neighborhood in the city and the country in Rogers Park, I think those two things, and then high school was St. Ignatius College Prep, which is a very strong emphasis on social justice and men and women for others.
Yeah.
That's a part of it, right?
Yeah.
So by the time I got to college, I was already interested in these things, and I changed my major from elementary education to environmental studies, environmental science.
You nerded out there.
I nerded out there. I was like, it's about sustainability. All it is about sustainability, and this is, my life's mission. So, and then I moved back to Chicago, got a job teaching computers, and this is like 2005, and I started sustainability efforts at the schools I worked at.
Right.
And that's kind of what started me on the sustainability path. And then had several careers in sustainability, working as University of Chicago's first sustainability paid person, and then Governor Quinn's sustainability director for the state.
Got it.
So this is just a natural transition into how do I keep doing what I was doing.
It's the accumulation of all that work and making a decision that it's not just a one-off. It's what I believe in. And obviously, if you change your major to something like that, it was clearly you were touched earlier in the process.
Yeah.
So here's a novel question, and we're talking with Eric Heineman. He's a CEO, and just a dude that decided to lean into what makes sense when it comes to solar. Windfree solar is Windfree, not Windfree as in Oprah, but Windfree, WINDFREE solar. Check them out, but we'll get to that later. So please answer this question for all of us folks who don't understand how solar works when it comes, because you talked about residential, you talked about commercial, kind of my words, but those sort of two columns. So in a residential environment, how does it work? And in a commercial environment, how does it work? And I know that sounds like by design, it's a very basic question, because a lot of people are like, ugh, I don't know. That was me going, I don't get that.
Right.
The sound effect was me going, ugh, I don't get that. So Eric, help folks understand how it works. What is it? How does it work?
Yeah, so solar's been around since the 70s. We actually developed it in the U.S. This is our technology. The easiest way to explain it. So residential and commercial is the same. We call them behind-the-meter projects, and we put solar on the roof. The solar panels get hit with, photovoltaic energy. That energy goes to an inverter, which is either on the panel or maybe in your basement or outside, connected to the conduit. That inverter changes the power to power that we can actually use. That power then goes through your utility meter, and it goes directly onto the grid. And so the easiest way to think about it is, if you remember when we used to have meters from the utility that actually had like this circular disc.
Yeah.
Right? So before the smart meters, there was a circular disc, and when the sun is out, it actually starts spinning backwards. And it would normally spin forward when you're pulling from the grid, but since you're putting it in, it's going backwards. So that's one way to physically think about it, right?
Okay, so by going backward, it means it's accumulating.
Correct. Yeah.
Aha!
Yeah. Right.
It's accumulating the energy.
Yep.
and the transfer of the energy, the conversion is the right word.
Yeah,
right? Okay,
exactly.
I try to pay attention.
And when you're using more energy, you're not putting as much back in the grid, right?
Okay.
But nowadays it all goes through a digital meter, and in the Chicagoland area, ComEd is our utility, and it's all tracked exactly what you put in and what you use. Then ComEd kind of matches the credits up, and they give you a bill a month later, and they say, okay, well, you produced this or you didn't. And I like to just let it rack up and not pay ComEd anything, for 6 months, and let them come after me, because eventually it goes negative.
Got it. So, okay, this is a question that I shouldn't. I don't know if I should know the answer to this or not, but I'm sure you know it or you have a perspective on it. Electric vehicles. I just talked about this earlier in terms of there's more now used electric vehicles that are being purchased than new. And we all understand why that's happening, because the cost factor and the depreciation, and then you're still buying an EV.
Yep.
But this is
a great deal.
Yeah, it is. It's really good. It's a really good deal. Here's a question that I've wondered is, when we have EVs, is there integration between using solar to power EVs? Because I was like, wait a minute. We're worried about plugging in to your place at your house or your wherever, or the stations. But every time I go buy one, and you're smiling because every time I go buy an EV station, I'm like, well, they're getting their power in part, and not just EV stations, but things that are powered by. There's a panel and it's tilted. And then I think about, those of us that have the lights in our yards that are solar powered lights. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
Where are we when it comes to vehicles and just being able to change the way that the rear window on a vehicle is designed, where it's always getting solar power coming into it to then be convert. Am I crazy, or help us?
Yeah, no, a lot of people ask me.
Yeah, I am crazy.
No. I think the answer is, I think where you're going is, you're saying, why doesn't all cars that are electric have solar panels integrated to them?
In some way.
Kind of the question?
Yeah, that's the question. Thank you.
So I worked for Nissan for 3 years. On the Nissan Leaf, and way back in the day, they actually used to integrate this tiny solar panel on the back of the trunk, and it didn't do much. It charged the car battery like a normal car battery, and it operated the radio, and it helps you get into the car and unlock the car, that kind of thing. And the problem is that vehicles have to weigh a certain amount to qualify to be legally drivable. And U of I does a lot of work every year. They do this solar car contest where they try to build a car that can just be powered by solar panels alone. And their key is making them really light. And so I think the issue right now, eventually we'll have a curve where it doesn't matter anymore, because the watts are so efficient in the panels, where it doesn't matter how light the car is. But I think the challenge right now is, as long as vehicles have to weigh a certain amount, it's hard to do what you're saying. But I was going to say, there are tie-ins. A lot of our clients, on our residential side, everyone who has an electric car tends to go solar, because they want to say, I'm making this my own. And it also halves the payback generally. If you've replaced your gasoline fuel costs with solar power, you've halved your return on your solar PV system.
Right.
So, and then the other thing that's kind of interesting is, when you buy an electric car, you're actually investing in a big battery. And most utilities in the country have real-time or hourly pricing programs that actually incentivize you to charge only when power prices are cheaper or go negative, which tend to be on the weekends or Friday, Saturday night, or 1 a.m. on Saturday. And our clients are pretty sophisticated, and they're setting their timers to get every possible benefit. I think about my dad. He's always talking to me about, I hope you're making sure you're only charging, with hourly pricing between midnight and 3 a.m. on Saturday.
Turn that light off.
Making the most savings, So the benefit with electric cars are, if you're doing the right things, you're producing solar during the day, during the high demand time. Right now it's the summer when everyone's using air conditioning from 9 to 5, Monday through Friday. And then you're pulling your power, at off-peak times, right? So that's where the grid gets really interesting, because now all of a sudden, all these electric cars that people own are actually helping kind of balance the demand grid piece.
I get it. So so that leads to my question, because I could keep going down the path.
No worries. Keep going.
You get in your car if it's been parked outside on a hot summer day, and it's hot as you know what inside the car. And I'm thinking, well, that's because of the sun. So why don't we? Okay, y'all know where I'm going. I'll stop because Eric's looking at me like, yeah, Richard, we get it. We but that's a conversation for another time to have you on the show. Talk about, if you can, in this short time that we have, what infrastructure requirements, what are we as a country? I mean, here in the state of Illinois, we're doing good work. We're getting into some good trouble, to use the John Lewis phrase. But what can we be doing? What should we be doing from an infrastructure standpoint so that we become less dependent, to use the phrase, on fossil fuel? And I'm not saying everybody's going to move to solar or to EV or even to hybrid when it comes to vehicles, but what are some of the things that we all can agree on, progressive, liberal, Democrats, Republicans, all of us across the country, that my 8 and 2 conversation, we're all breathing the same air, we're all, absorbing the same environmental issues, to our infrastructure, to our, use the word grid, to make it, and that's a big question.
Yeah. So locally, maybe I'll answer the question in a couple different parts. So if you're in Illinois, we've been trying to pass a battery storage bill. It didn't pass this last spring, but what it would do is it allows more solar to go on the grid in Illinois, and allow big batteries, like massive batteries. And we're hoping that bill will pass in veto this fall. So it didn't happen mostly because there were a lot of asks at the end of the legislative session. But really, states regulate the utilities, and that's a lot of power because utilities are monopolies and they do whatever they want, right? So we've been very lucky here. Since 2016, FEJA passed, and 2021, CEJA passed in Illinois. And that created the Illinois SREC market, solar renewable energy credits, and that's about 30% of your costs of going solar. With the federal tax credit right now is another 30%. And then our utilities have to also give you another 10%. So we're at about 70% funded through different subsidies in Illinois, which is why solar is taken off in Illinois so much, and why Illinois was the most residential installs than any state in the country last year.
Wow.
So, locally, I think if you're in a state, getting hooked up with your solar advocates to help force utilities to do what we want, because they will only do, what's in their bottom line, right? So, and that's a whole nother story. So I would say, getting active is a big piece. The basic things I mentioned earlier, most states have these hourly pricing programs, and that's something you don't need to invest in anything. You just tell your utility, hey, I'm willing to switch my load. I'm going to do my laundry on the weekends, which you probably do already, right? Things like that, or using most of your air conditioning, at night when you're doing that already. You can actually get rewarded for that. And I think showing positive behaviors to the utilities makes them say, oh, this is interesting. Oh, all these people are going electric cars. They're going solar. They're putting EV charging stations in, or they're getting smarter about their energy usage. That has a big effect.
So as a benefit of that, then does it affect pricing, and does it not just the cost of doing it, but the cost of having it, one, and then second, and I know we got a few minutes left, but does what's the fastest way? You said, contacting your utility companies. What's the fastest way, though, for people to say, all right, I'm going to flip the switch, no pun intended?
Right. Yeah. I mean, I think that's the first thing. Contact your utilities. Say, I want to switch to hourly pricing or real-time pricing. Those are the phrases, all the utilities are using.
Hourly pricing and real-time pricing.
I would ask them about, what are your incentives to go solar? What are your incentives for EV charging? How do we get you going the right way, right? Because I think utilities are also kind of like dinosaurs. You're right. They don't move quickly. They only, move when there's a critical mass. And so the renewable movement as a movement is unstoppable right now. So regardless what happens, you can't stop it because energy demand is going through the roof with AI and data centers and all these things. And utilities are just like any other large commercial business. They do what the clients tell them to do, right? So I think the more pushing our utilities to go in the right direction at both, state and local level is probably the main thing.
Got it. One of the things that I say often on this show, daily, weekly, if not daily, and that is fighting, pushing, getting our local officials, our regional, our state and national officials, being in their corner. We want them to succeed. And how do we help them succeed? It's by pushing them. And the same thing applies when it comes to businesses, is pushing them in a direction that's better for society at large. Some of the micro issues in terms of energy, which is obviously not a small issue, but it's one that we can have an impact on if people are willing to get in the fight. As we wrap up, Eric, tell us, when you sit back and think about why solar is important, and if you were talking to a group of non-believers or non-supporters of that, what would be some of the quick bullet points that you would use to get their attention as to why it's so important?
Sure. So I would quickly say this is for businesses or homeowners. Owning your own solar panels provides long-term energy stability. So that helps, if you add battery storage, that ensures you won't get blackouts, right? Mm-hmm. If you're in a rural area, that's really important because that's where a lot of the blackouts are happening. If you're a business, owning your own panels benefits your employees and their operations because you're saving a ton of money on your electric bills, and now you got maybe $400 more a month to do something with, right? And overall, it generates greater value to your property for both a house or business. So you're investing in yourself, right? Instead of giving all your money to the utilities, you're actually putting it back.
Putting it back in your pocket. Less is going out, and you're putting actually some back when it comes to the credits.
Yeah, exactly.
Wow. So, Eric, how can folks find you? How can they, get involved in some capacity with your business and with the fight that you're really in this space?
Sure. So we're running something. It's kind of like a Groupon. If people remember Groupon, it's a group buy. It's going till September 18th, called Switch Together in the Chicagoland area.
Switch Together.
And we're trying to get as many residents and businesses lined up. We line up a whole lot of business. We kind of get a whole lot of panels. It's like a standard, menu of here's what you pick off of, and everyone gets a discount. So that's going until September 18th in the Chicagoland area.
And that starts when?
It's going right now.
It's going right now.
Yeah,
okay.
And it's called switchtogether.com is the website, and it's partnered with Cook County, a lot of municipalities, MREA, CUB, all the folks. So, right now we're in the push. The tax credits on residential end at the end of the year. You have to have installation happen by the end of the year. Really what that means is we need a few months to get through design, engineering, and permitting to be able to get you in before the end of the year.
Right.
So we have a big push to get people signed up by really September 18th, mid-September, end of September, because that's
the time.
That's where we really need a few months. The install itself on a residential project takes 1 or 2 days, so it's the fastest part. It's everything that happens before that.
Yeah, got it.
So windfree.us is our main page, switchtogether.com, and I would also throw out, we have a GoFundMe for our employee, Cynthia Meyer. She's our director of service. Her husband was taken by ICE
that's right.
about a month ago. We got him out, so this is actually a happy story. The whole company kind of rallied behind her. I reached out to some contacts in the governor's office in Illinois. They got us a lawyer right away. The company helped pay for that, retainer of that lawyer. We got him out. He was a Senegalese political asylum person. And there's a GoFundMe because it's a lot of money. And, the company paid, say, half, but there was more lawyer needs. And there's a GoFundMe, too. So I'd say I'd throw that out. Cynthia's still looking to try and get out of her debt, but we did as much as we could. But employees helped set up the GoFundMe for her, and he actually got out, and he was a political asylum person married to an American. He saved the life of the Secretary of State in Senegal. He's Secret Service, smuggled out of the country, left for dead, got here, been married about 1.5 years to our employee, and, accidentally, I don't know, taken by ICE at his political hearing.
Yeah.
But
no accidents there, brother.
Yeah. But after about 3 weeks, she got him out just because she's very persistent and, somebody you don't want to mess with, our director of service, Cynthia Myers. So she got him out. So
that's a great story.
Yeah,
and that's where business integrates with social and does the right thing for the people that are part of what you do. Eric, thanks for being with us this morning. We appreciate the quick lesson that you gave your nerd buddy over here in this space of solar. But thanks for taking time to be with us, and thanks for the hard work that you're doing to better our society.
Appreciate it.
Appreciate it, man.
Appreciate you.
All right, guys, we're going to take a quick break. The number is 773-763-9278. When we come back, we will have Congressman Raja Krishnamoorthi, who's another advocate for protecting this environment. Choose Views. We'll be right back.
Hi, my dad founded Chicago Community Acupuncture.
My dad did too.
That's because we're sisters.
Yeah, but it's true.
You know, acupuncture has helped billions of people, but some people are still afraid of it.
Why?
They're afraid it'll hurt, or that it won't do anything to help them.
That's silly. We get acupuncture all the time, and it's like less than a mosquito bite. And everyone knows that acupuncture can help a bunch of different problems.
Not everyone knows that.
Someone should tell them.
I think you just did.
So if you'd like to experience top-quality acupuncture at half the price of other places, come visit us at Chicago Community Acupuncture at Milwaukee, Devon, and Nagel. Call 773-853-0920, 773-853-0920, or our website, Chi-Com Acu.
Chicomacu.
CHICOMACU.com.
Or CHICOMACU.com. Chicomacu.
Either way, we'd love to help you. Start feeling better today.
This is a WCPT Veteran Minute. Captain Hugh Molzak's love for the sea started after he finished high school, as he served the British Sooners and in 1918 immigrated to the United States. Within 2 years of joining the Marines, Molzak earned his Shipping Master Certificate, the first African American to do so. In 1921, Molzak was promoted to the rank of captain. In 1942, the SS Booker T. Washington, the first ship to be named after an African American, was created, and Molzak was offered the position of captain, but he turned it down at first, as the Marines did not want to have an integrated crew. Molzak stood firm on his beliefs, stating, "Under no circumstances will I command a Jim Crow," and Molzak became the first African American captain of the first ever integrated crew. Under Captain Molzak, over 18,000 troops were sent to the European war front, and ships carrying tanks, aircrafts, and ammunition to United States troops in World War II. This has been a WCPT Veteran Minute.
This is Tony Moret. I'm an estate planning lawyer who drafts living trusts and wills. Since the election, I've been hearing from my clients, many of them fellow WCPT listeners, and we all wonder, how did this happen and what can we do? The how is, of course, very complicated. My thoughts as regard to what we can do is simple but important. We need to take extra care of those we love. Having an estate plan using either a living trust or will can provide comfort in uncertain times like these. When the progressive values we hold dear are under attack, I feel we must make sure that our personal lives are secure and then work out from there. I've been drafting estate plans for my clients for over 30 years, and I will use all of that experience to help you. Please call me at 847-996-0496. My website is moreylawoffice.com. That's More spelled M-O-R-E-E. Again, the phone is 847-996-0496. There is no cost or obligation for our initial discussion. I look forward to speaking with you.
Greece is cheap.
But the airfare costs a fortune.
Paris?
Not much closer, and again, airfare...
What about Puerto Vallarta?
Let's face it, flying anywhere is just too expensive.
Wait, what's this? Low-cost airlines.
With one call to low-cost airlines, you'll drastically slash your travel costs. We're talking insanely low airline prices to any of your favorite destinations. Where would you like to go? London, Rome, Costa Rica, Australia?
Wow, that's cheap.
So why wait? Call now to learn how crazy cheap it is to fly anywhere in the U.S. or international. Our prices are so low, we can't publish them. The only way to get them is to call to instantly hear the most amazing best deals on airline travel. It's that easy. So call now and start packing.
800-708-3091. 800-708-3091. 800-708-3091. That's 800-708-3091.
You're listening to WCPT 820. Here's the latest Chicago weather update.
From the the Weatherology Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Jennifer Wojcicki. We'll see sunny skies here for today, high around 90 degrees. Winds out of the southwest around 5 to 10 miles per hour. Then for tonight, partly cloudy skies with a low near 74. By Wednesday, a chance for showers and thunderstorms here late. Blend of clouds and sunshine develops, high of 91. Thursday, another chance for showers and storms, cloudy, high of 78 degrees. That's your latest Chicago weather update.
Currently, it's 77.
You're listening to WCPT 820 because facts matter.
Welcome back to Choose Views with Richard Chew on WCPT 820, Chicago's progressive talk.
Growing up with a name and a background like mine, I always felt like an underdog, and I still do. When I see other underdogs hurt by a rigged system, I fight back.
Congressman Raja Krishnamoorthi speaking out against terrorists. A fighter who will do whatever it takes.
Raja Krishnamoorthi vowing to hold the government accountable.
And putting an end to bullying.
And as your senator, I'll take on the biggest bully of them all. Because underdogs, we just fight harder. I'm Raja Krishnamoorthi, and I approve this message because bullies like Trump can call us names. But you can just call me Raja.
Or some of us might refer to him as Subramanian Raja Krishnamoorthi. Welcome to the show, Congressman.
Hey, Richard. How are you, man?
I'm good. You weren't expecting that, huh?
I was not. That's pretty good. Good pronunciation. Thank you.
I practiced it at least 10 times.
I have 29 letters in my name, man. So, you can just call me Raja.
That's right. That's right. Well, it's so great to have you on the show. Thank you for being with us.
Yes, sir.
I as a man of color, one of the things that popped into my mind when I thought about this interview and being able to talk with you and have our guest hear from you, and you've been on CPT before, I'm just going to cut to the chase and get right to some things that I know are at the heart of the matter, given your busy schedule. How did it make you feel to see a woman of color, being Miss McKeever, one of you, and then Senator Padilla, be quote unquote manhandled, thrown to the ground for simply trying to stand up for folks who need support and need to be represented in the proper way?
Outraged, disgusted. This is the picture of an administration that is unaccountable and that is acting with impunity. And what we know is that when an administration or an executive or a president is unaccountable, bad things happen. Whether it's tariff chaos, whether it's ICE, acting the way that they are, whether it's deploying U.S. troops on American soil against U.S. citizens in Los Angeles, or whether it's, bombing a country without, properly going to Congress and asking for the will of the people to do so. These are all the acts of a president that is out of control. And, as I said, the laws that require accountability stem from bad periods in our history when bad things happen, and if we don't hold him accountable, bad things are going to happen again.
Earlier in the show, we talked a little bit about the things that are happening in our rural communities, and when we talk about the educational budget being demolished and the Department of Education being gutted and the State Department being reduced in terms of the employees there, what I think about with you is, your family moved to not a rural area, but a smaller community, that being Peoria, Illinois. And so you've had a real, you've been really upset about the fact that NPR and PBS are going to be them being impacted is going to impact rural communities right out of the gate. Let's talk a little bit about that and some of your commentary in that space.
Absolutely. So just to familiarize your listeners, so I was actually born in India, and I came to this country when I was 3 months old, and things were going great until suddenly the recession of 1973 hit us hard, lost our income, and thanks to the generosity of the American people, we were allowed to move into public housing and food stamps. Those two programs sustained us until my father could get on his feet and then end up getting a great job in Peoria, of all places. And every night he would say, think of the greatness of this country, and whatever you do, make sure it's there for the next families who need it. And that became the mission statement of my life, Richard. And so when I see public housing and food stamps on the chopping block, for that matter, other public services, whether it's NPR, PBS, housing assistance for veterans, Medicaid, a lot of these rural communities and smaller communities rely on these sources of public assistance for, maybe a disproportionate share of funds compared to other wealthier communities and metropolitan areas. And so you're hurting a lot of people when you cut out those supports and, demolish the social safety net. And that's why, on my statewide listening tour, I've been spending time in places like the Quad Cities, and then last week in Petersburg, and then Bloomington Normal, kind of highlighting the harm that is done to average, ordinary people when, for instance, the large, lousy law, which, he calls the big, beautiful bill.
Thank you for changing that.
Effect.
Yes.
I refuse to call it that ridiculous name he gave it.
Right. Large, I love that. That is yours. Have you gotten the hashtag for that yet?
I think so. I have to check with Hannah, who's in charge of these things, but we got to put a trademark on that.
There you go. That's what you got to do. And listen, I will tell you this, Congressman, I've said this whenever I've been blessed to have a congressional leader on Choose Views. We've got your back. Okay, let me say this, and I want you to hear this, and I want you to feel this. We've got your back. We want you to walk into the room and knock over some tables. Not literally, but we want you to walk in and own the space. We want you to walk in and let the other side know that they're not your colleagues until they start to act right. We've got your back. We don't want you to have to turn around and wonder, do the voters, not just in Illinois, but progressives and liberals and Democrats all across the country, we got your back. So go on in there and knock some tables over and let them know this is unacceptable behavior. Call them out. We got you, okay? I said this to Representative Brzezinski. I said it to Representative Kelly. Go get it. We got you, okay? We got you, Congressman. I just want you to know that, okay?
Well, that means a lot to me. I feel that we're kind of at this threshold question or moment in our country, which is what kind of a government do we want, Richard? Do we want a government that's there for those who are fighting to make it, or do we want a government that primarily caters to those who have it made? And this large, lousy law represents the latter, but I know that the vast majority of people want the former. They want a country and a government that's always trying to nurture the American dream for everyone so they can realize their full potential, regardless of whether they're working poor, middle class, or growing a business. That animates me every day, and quite frankly, that animates my current Senate campaign as well.
That's great to hear. So a lot of people don't know this, but in addition to you having your law degree, you also have a mechanical engineering degree, and you were one of those educational elites that the Republicans like to talk about. But and I'm just messing with you, but I have to ask you this question very practically. How has that degree not affected you, but supported you, impacted you in your work as a congressional leader?
Well, look, it's true. I have a BS in mechanical engineering. Some people say I practice the BS part now, but I think that what it really did. So my dad's an engineering professor. He was for 40 years, man, at Bradley University, which is a fine institution in Peoria, and he really wanted me to pursue engineering, and so I did, and I think what it nurtured in me is maybe a little bit of an analytical approach to different problems. And, as you know, there is no when something is broken in your house, you got to fix it. You can't let it fester, whether it's a broken pipe or a toilet or whatever. So, I think the same goes for the problems that we see right now and the challenges that afflict people on an everyday basis. Things are broken. and we've got to be the ones that are fixing them, especially their economic problems, because those are the pain points that I think people feel are ignored, whether it's, inability to buy a home or rent a home, whether it's, affording child care or an education for your kids, or getting health care for yourself, or being able to retire with dignity. Those are problems that have to be fixed. And so as an engineer or former engineer, I think that now it's time to engineer some solutions.
Absolutely. And I appreciate that you kind of brought people into understanding that you got to fix this stuff. And we, as progressive liberal Democrats, are not trying to tear anything down unless it's bad and it's broken. We're trying to repair stuff. We're trying to bring people into the conversation and make sure that more Americans, and this is the thing that I have to applaud you on, and please let your colleagues in Congress, specifically the Democrats, because the Republicans, they got some issues, but please let your colleagues on our side know this next statement. Our ideas are better. Keep reminding them that our ideas are better, your ideas are better, and keep pushing for those, because I believe when representatives like you are seen out talking about how our ideas are better and that we're fighting for all of the country, not just the ones that vote for you, that people really do then feel like they can come back to the party. They can come back and be part of this crazy thing that we're part of, when that's politics. So,
that's right.
Just remember to remind your colleagues on the left that our ideas are better and they make more sense.
100%.
Talk a little bit about this, and this is bringing it back local for a second. This is your fourth term, if I'm correct? Fifth term. Okay, your fifth term.
Yeah.
So representing the 41st Ward, or I'm sorry, representing the 8th Congressional District.
Right.
What does it mean for you? Talk a little bit about the geography of that congressional district, and what does it mean for you to be, a local guy that went to Washington but knows the community that you represent still needs the energy that you bring to this district?
Well, so just geographically speaking, it's basically all the suburbs surrounding O'Hare, including the runways, but not the terminals. And we can talk about gerrymandering another time. I do have the 41st Ward, believe it or not, in my ward, portions of it. But it also extends like 40 miles away to Pingree Grove and the far western portions of Kane County and places like St. Charles and Geneva, much of DuPage, and the panhandle of Cook. It's extremely diverse. 30% of the residents are foreign-born. These are hardworking people. It's diverse. They work together. They live together. They play together. They are, I think, the model of what America should look like and will look like in the years to come. What they want is this, Richard. They want everybody to have an equal chance at realizing the American dream. They want a legal immigration system that works. They want an economy where you don't have tariff chaos, which is descending from Donald Trump and basically demolishing people's businesses right now. And what it means for me to kind of go to Washington and be in the community. My wife and 3 beautiful children are in the local school, so I come home every week. That's literally home base for me, and I spend time with my neighbors, and I go back and commute, and I try to take my Illinois values with me to Washington every day, and I think those values are ones of decency, a sense of respect, but also making sure there's fairness for everybody, and that's what I try to bring to the Capitol.
And I think that a lot of people are seeing more and more. And let me speak specifically about Illinois. We've got such a great bench of folk. We've got a number of great leaders. Obviously, Senator Durbin is stepping aside, and Representative Schakowsky stepping aside. And then we've got folks like you and Lieutenant Governor and Representative Kelly, who are stepping forward to say that they want to be the next leader in this capacity. So I'll ask you the same question that I've asked them when I've talked to them: is only one person's going to win. And if it's not you, and I'm not picking one way or the other, but if it's not you, what happens next for you? How do you go forward? What do you still represent? What do you still believe in?
Well, first of all, we have to rally behind whoever ends up winning the Democratic nomination, because we cannot afford for this seat to be anything other than held by a Democrat right now, especially in this time with Donald Trump. So that's point one. Point two, the fight goes on, the fight for fairness, the fight for everyone being able to realize the American dream, and the fight to make sure everyone has a chance, regardless of the color of your skin, where you come from, how you pray, whom you love, or the number of letters in your name. And I mentioned this before. There are 29 in mine. I have more than enough to go around. I have a wrap-around uniform. They wrap around my uniform. Look, I think that that's what I represent. I think most Democrats do. We have to continue to fight for solutions to the average problems that people face. The more that we are economically focused, the more that we will continue to get buy-in for other parts of our agenda. And I think now more than ever, we got to also stand up to Donald Trump and hold him accountable. So it's a twin. I think it's a twin agenda. Stand up to Donald Trump, demand accountability, make sure that our government acts within the laws and rules and regulations. And then secondly, try to deliver for people economically first and foremost, because there's nothing more sensitive in the body than the pocketbook nerve. And we've got to attend to that.
Yeah, that's a great way of putting it. You talked about a wraparound jersey. A lot of people may not have gotten the humor in that, but I will ask you a question about activities outside of when you're being the leader that you are and the ranking member that you are. Talk a little bit about the things that keep you regular, keep you normal, and seriously, as a dude that you mentioned your 3 daughters and your wife, but talk a little bit about what keeps you balanced as best possible.
It's my family, man. I got a 20-year-old, a 16-year-old, a 9-year-old, a dog, a parakeet, and then I'm right underneath the parakeet in the pecking order.
And a bunch of gray hair, right?
Yeah, gray hair. So I'm like the dishwasher. I'm the Uber driver. I'm everything when I come home, and so they kind of ground me in average chores of the day and what we have to do as a family, and making sure that I'm directed and focused on what really matters in life. I think that I'm really very interested in being home with my family as much as I can, and my wife, keeps everything together, and she's a saint at this point.
That's fantastic. I got to give you another, just a high five for something that you did that may have gone unnoticed, but I think it was really important. And that it's really two things. The drive to D.C. week before last, when we had the weather issues and flights were canceled, you and a number of Democratic leaders here in the Midwest had to get in the car and make that 12-hour trek back to D.C. to be ready for the vote. And we had a clip that we were going to play of that when you first got out of the vehicle, but we won't play that today. But I want to give you a shout out, because that's what a lot of times people don't see, the commitment that you guys make to the work. They only see the other side, or the not positive side, if you will, that the media sometimes, the mainstream media perpetrates the wrong way. So kudos to you for that, and others who made the commitment to get back, to try to block and prevent as best you could, and in that way.
Thank you, Richard. It was a defining vote. I mean, there's like a handful of those in your career. In my 10 years or 5 terms here, I'd say that was one of them. And my flights got canceled, or were getting canceled, and I was in Moline, Illinois, with our statewide listening tour, and I said, let's get some gas, let's get some snacks, let's go. Yeah. And so 14 hours later, arrived in D.C., and kudos to my staff. By the way, we did a I don't know how many times this has happened ever, but we did a virtual town hall from the highway along the way to talk about. We gave people like an hour's notice, and we had at least 300 to 400 people join, while I was driving. So it was a little bit of an unusual situation, but it was just it's just one of those things where I need to be I need to be here. I need to vote, but I also have to stay connected to my peeps.
Yeah.
So this is how we did it.
Well, again, kudos to you for that, and I really appreciate the commitment to making sure that people were connected to you and that you made it back, because you knew then and know now how important that vote is. And shout out to the caucus, and shout out to Speaker Jeffries and all of the rest of you that are ranking members for making sure that we didn't have to ask the question which Democrat decided to step out and not vote in alignment with what needed to be right for the American people. So I really appreciate that you all were able to stay in alignment, and shout out to Speaker Jeffries for his work there. Got a small favor I got to ask you. I really want to have him on my show. I know I'm begging, but I'm gonna beg without any pride. So do me that major favor of letting him know there's a dude from your hometown that would love to have him on the show and chat about all the work that he's been doing as well. So I won't be bashful and say that I would be honored to have Speaker Jeffries on, or House Minority Leader Jeffries on.
Hey, man, future speaker, right?
Right.
Let's work on it, man.
Yeah, absolutely. Guys, we've been talking with Subramanian Raja Krishnamoorthi. Also,
did you call me Superman?
I did.
Thank you.
I was waiting for you to, it was a layup.
That has happened. That has happened many times.
That was a layup, and nobody was on you. That's why I hit you with that lob pass. So,
hey, I'll take it. I need it.
Well, you got it. And Congressman, we've got your back, as I said earlier. Please let the members of the Democratic elected members of Congress in the House know that we have your back, and just keep fighting forward, because we believe in you. We know that it's tough, but you should know that we're here for you as well, okay?
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Richard.
Thank you for being with us this morning. Stay safe this week and keep up the great work.
Thank you.
All right.
Take care.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
All right, guys, there you go. Subramanian Raja Krishnamoorthi, who is our 8th Congressional District U.S. Representative. It's great to have him with us this morning, and teasing him a little bit. He teased himself, so that's always good. He's got a good sense of humor and knows that the work is hard, but they try to keep a certain amount of balance. So when we bring folks like that to you guys, the goal is to try to help them understand where we stand with them and have you guys understand them as well. So thanks for being with us today. Thanks for our guest, Eric Heineman, for being with us. And as always, take a deep breath, make your life count. We'll see you tomorrow.
Porsche, power within your grasp. Feel the rush and find your new Porsche at the Porsche Exchange in Highland Park. Browse and test drive our extensive selection, like the 2025 Porsche Cayenne. And right now, lease the 2025 Macan Electric for only $1049 a month for 39 months. Visit the Porsche Exchange in Highland Park or PorscheExchange.com. $8,992 with signing. Excludes tax, title, license, and dock fee. No security deposit required. Expires 7/31/2025.
This is an important notice to all U.S. taxpayers. The IRS is giving away billions of dollars in tax savings through a federal program called the Fresh Start Initiative to aid delinquent taxpayers. This initiative was established for anyone facing financial hardship and unable to pay their back taxes. Qualifying and enrolling in this program will stop all collections, settle your delinquent tax problem, and even reduce what you owe